If you ever plan on investing but do not know where to start, you might just be in the right place. Investing is like growing a farm.
Patience is one of the most important and I think underrated skills when it comes to investing. Just putting your money away, leaving it alone, focusing on why you have chosen to invest and allow that investment work for you is probably one of the most difficult things that we do as investors.
So you don't expect to harvest your crops immediately after planting. You start small, stay patient and go from there. And just like growing a farm, there are just some things you must know before investing. If you ever plan on having a farm without conducting adequate research, you could be making a big mistake. That also applies to investing. Never invest in something you do not know. With basic understanding and adequate research, you can understand how savings and investing work.
When you want to do anything and you want to do it well, one of the most important things that you can do is to arm yourself with knowledge. The only way you arm yourself with knowledge is to research. But research is a more conscious activity. It is you taking information from various sources, putting it together, and putting together a course of action. When you're researching, you're looking to focus on the source of your information, the depth of that information as well, because you want to ensure that you have clarity in what you're doing. And I think that that's where professional fund management comes in. And so what we do with all of our clients is we walk them through the various asset classes, the various kinds of investments that are available. We talk to any clients really about what it is that you're trying to achieve when you're investing and how the different asset classes or different kinds of investments can help you get there. What I always encourage all clients to do is, as much as you can, gain for yourself basic knowledge around investing. What is an equity? What is a bond? What is a treasury bill? How risky are they? Basic information, because at least that helps you validate what the professional is telling you. So when I give you advice and say, oh, based on what you told me, I think you should invest in ABC, and I've told you that ABC means this, you have at least some basic knowledge to validate what I have told you.
Exactly. The CEO of Hotels.ng once said, validate your business very early. Do not build a business, then go find a market. You find the market first, then you can build a business. Don't invest without proper investigation. Investment-savvy individuals often understand that the way to win is to figure out the game by conducting proper and adequate research. These people use the information to identify potential investment options and in turn increase their earnings. We recommend you learn about investing before you begin investing. So read, ask questions, listen to podcasts, attend events and webinars to become knowledgeable. And just like growing a farm, one wrong move, you could be in financial trouble. That applies also to investing. Investing is something that can help you grow your wealth, depending on your investment. Some people prefer high-risk investments that offer a higher potential for above-average returns. At the same time, some people prefer the low-risk, safer investment option where there is less to gain in potential return. Whatever you choose, investing is personal. It is your choice, your financial goals, your reason.
I find that investing is a very personal act. It starts off with you knowing, I would say you knowing yourself, and even you understanding yourself, that you need to understand your risk tolerance and also what we call your composure. So you might say to me that, look, I have zero risk. Perhaps my risk tolerance goes for the things I understand. I know many entrepreneurs who struggle with investing in assets like equities, bonds, treasury bills and all of those things. But they take very big risks in their own business because that is the risk that they understand. And so they're actually investing because entrepreneurship is a form of investment. And then they just want to put it in the bank. They don't want any risk around it because they say to me, look, my business is very risky. So this money has to be almost risk-free so that if anything happens on this side, I have this as a nest egg. A bank is not risk-free, right? And if you're putting your money under your bed, it's not risk-free.
That's another
Somebody
one.
could steal that money. A thief could come and that money is all gone. Nothing is inherently risk-free. And you can say, okay, you know what? Maybe this money that I'm putting away safe because my business is risky, I can put it into low-risk investments that allow me to be comfortable because I understand what they are, but at least I'm earning a little something. And the reason why it's important to earn a little something on your money is because, especially in the Nigerian context, every one of us is losing money every day from inflation.
True.
With inflation at 17%, just accept within yourself that every year your money has lost 17% of its value. So if that money is just sitting down in the bank earning nothing, that's minus 17%. At least if you're earning 10% on something, on that money, perhaps it's now minus 7. So you've cushioned yourself a little bit. So that's the reason why maybe you move to a low risk investment. So that at least you are still comfortable with what you're doing. It's still within your risk tolerance. It's still within your composure level because you can be comfortable with what you've done, but at least you're earning something. It's really a very personal activity, but I don't think that there's anybody who cannot invest. I think it's just about finding the right assets to invest in.
Here are some questions to ponder. What do I plan to achieve from investing? What are my financial goals? Do I have realistic timelines? The answers to these questions will serve as your risk appetite, so you would know if you need to consider low, medium, or high investments. Investments are like modes of transportation. What you take depends on where you are going. You need to have a financial goal. Your financial goals should dictate your investment plans.
Budgeting, planning is probably one of the, I would say, best and most useful skills any adult individual can develop in their life. Before you decide you want to invest, before you decide you want to put money aside, you must have enough money for current expenses. So you want to understand, what is my income? How does my income come? Am I in salaried employment? Am I an entrepreneur? Do I have lump sum income or do I have monthly income? Secondly, what are my expenses? There's expenses that are basic and needed, and then there are what you might call luxurious expenses. So your income minus basic expenses gives you a disposable income. This is income that doesn't have any particular purpose. I always tell everyone that as much as possible, once you have met your basic expenses, you want to try to put away 20 to 30% at least of your income. In our household, what we do is we invest first before expenses. So we've set an amount that we say we want to invest. Once that amount takes into account the maths of what we imagine our basic expenses should be, right? And we said I want to invest, let's call it 100,000 every month. And once we have paid basic expenses, that 100K is put away at the start of the month. And any money that's left there is money for what I would call luxurious expenses. That way you don't get into the habit of spending, of overspending on luxurious things, and at the end you're like, oh, I only really have this tiny amount, Because if you choose to save at the end of the month, when you've spent everything, you probably like to save zero.
Exactly. So when next you read something or someone tells you about a great investment offer, first, ask yourself how that investment fits and complements your financial plan before putting your money into it. Nothing is free, not even in Freetown. With investment, there isn't a rich quick system out there. There is no secret sauce, no book or course on investing that will guarantee millionaire status in a year. But here is a tip to becoming a millionaire that works. Learn how the system and market works. Think of the long game.
I tell everybody, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. And that applies to investing. If somebody is offering you outlandish returns, or give me this money today, I'll pay you 50% in a month, it probably is too good to be true. When anyone offers you any investment scheme, your first question has to be, who is your regulator? Who gives you this license to do this? The reason why you want to do that is because the SEC has created framework, investment processes around investment that are meant to safeguard all of us as a people in Nigeria. So for example, they have licensed fund managers to manage money. They have licensed companies called custodians to hold the investments that fund managers invest. So when you give me 5,000 naira, I'm not allowed to hold it in my account. I must have that money with a licensed, what we call custodian.
And these are things people should know about.
These are things people should know, because that is the reason why the SEC has created the framework around investing, and why we say anything you do must be done with a licensed firm. Because a licensed firm is compelled to follow the rules of its regulator. And so a good way to ensure you don't fall for those schemes is to ensure that your scheme is licensed.
Getting the perfect crops from that farm takes time. No matter your zeal or desire to get it done fast, you just have to be patient. And that also applies to investment. It takes time. If you're patient, disciplined, and forward-looking, then investment is right for you.
It is important to understand that investing is a long-term activity, and to understand that the reason you have chosen to invest doesn't just change because of market movements.
In today's world of real-time alerts and the 24/7 news cycle, investors can often be lost, confused, and emotional as the financial media encourages investors to take instant action, which is in fact one of the worst things you can do when it comes to investing. This is because the most important principle in investing is not how many investment options you have, but something on the contrary: patience.
Patience is taking a clear, calm view of a solution, evaluating, and choosing to either stay the course or make a change.
The bottom line is, if you must invest, which you should, then you have to research and be patient.
Okay, so final advice, right, to those that are listening, to those that are watching, who have a pile of money or sum of money somewhere and they want to invest this money, they want to take the next step, what do you have to say to these people?
The first thing I'll tell everyone is visit our website and contact us, and we will take the journey from there. It is such an easy process. There are various options that you can choose from, and it starts from as simple and as basic as a money market fund that I think everybody can invest in. You can invest in it from as little as 5,000 naira. It offers you capital preservation. You don't lose your money in investment, money market fund investments. It's just slow and steady. You can put that money away and just start the process. You know, sometimes you just need to get your feet wet. And once you've done that initial jump, you realize that this is actually a path that we should be going. I think it's a mistake for any adult to advance in life and not explore investing.
Thank you very much for this exciting conversation. I really look forward to speaking more on the success of, investment, exploring investment options, investment portfolios, with FBN Quest Asset Management.